Well, just last year, Mark Carney was saying that the biggest security threat to Canada is China. We all heard him say it. We all watched him say it. It was during the election debates.
I think the biggest security threat to Canada is China.
Where are we today? Well, Mark Carney is in China saying that Canada should deepen its cultural ties with China, saying that Canada has a relationship with China, that Canada has a partnership with China now. And all of this is happening as part of the New World Order.
For the New World Order.
And finally, people have always been at the core of this relationship. As I said, Canada is home to a Chinese diaspora of 2 million. Over 300,000 Chinese visitors came to Canada in 2024. China is Canada's 7th largest source of tourism. So the 5th pillar of this partnership will build on opportunities for cultural exchanges and partnerships that further deepen our people-to-people ties. That means museums, digital content creators, visual artists, and other creative professionals in our respective countries will have new opportunities to collaborate. It also means more tourism, including following China's decision in November to grant approved destination status for group travelers to Canada. And we're building on this progress, looking to increase travel, exchange, and deepen our cultural ties. I'm very pleased to share that President Xi, in our meeting today, has committed to ensuring visa-free access for Canadians traveling to China.
Yes, those were his words. Yes, he said this. He even said that he was heartened by something China's president Xi Jinping said.
We're heartened by the leadership of President Xi Jinping and the speed with which our relationship has progressed in recent months. And I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the New World Order.
Mark Carney is heartened by the leadership of communist China. I wonder if he's heartened by their leadership because they handed him a $250 million loan. That's pretty heartening. I wonder if he's paid some of it back yet. Aren't you just so proud of our Canadian Prime Minister who identifies as a European, who is heartened by the leadership of a communist country? I can't even say it with a straight face. The WEF Weasel was asked by a reporter what he meant by New World Order. And as usual, this guy gives a pretty convoluted answer. He uses fancy terms. It all sounds like duck speak and gibberish. And it all has to do with, of course, clean energy and global financial systems and all kinds of globalist type of junk.
Yesterday, when you met with Premier Li, one of the things you said in the public remarks was this partnership with Canada and China, this new partnership, sets us up well for the New World Order. What did you mean by that? What is the New World Order?
Well, it's a great question, Brian, because I think the world is still determining what that order is going to be. And let's be clear what we're talking about first and foremost, which is what are the trading, what is going to govern global trade? What is the role of the WTO going to be? How important are bilateral deals such as the one we're developing, plurilateral deals, if I can use that term, Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Plurilateral. What kind of a word is that? Is that even a real word? Say that to someone on the street and ask them what it means. Plurilateral. I can't even say it.
The potential linkages between Trans-Pacific Partnership and the EU. Where is financial regulation, payment system regulation going to fit into that? All of these aspects, I mean, use fancy words like the architecture, the multilateral system.
Multilateral system, fancy words. This guy just talks out of his rear end.
That has been developing these is being eroded, to use a polite term, undercut, use another term. So the question is, what gets built in that place? How much of a patchwork is it? How much is it just on a bilateral basis? Or where do like-minded countries in certain areas? So
like-minded countries? So Canada and China are like-minded now, are we?
Minded countries, just to be clear, doesn't mean you agree on everything. aspects, for example, on digital trade or agricultural trade. Climate finance as another area.
What the heck is climate finance?
To move into areas of geostrategy, geosecurity, you will have different coalitions that are formed. So what this partnership does is in areas, for example, of clean energy, conventional energy, agriculture, as we were just talking about, and financial services, which we've talked less about, but the evolution of the global financial system, the role of the renminbi over time, the evolution of cross-border payments. I know it all sounds very dry, except for your organization, which I think takes an interest in it. These are important elements of how the system is going to work. And look, the expectation is that rather than these being developed necessarily through the IMF, WTO, and other multilateral organizations, it is going to be coalitions that develop them not for the world, but for subsectors of the world.
Here's the next account that made an excellent point about Carney's gibberish answer about the New World Order. And he says, Carney got asked what he meant when he said New World Order. Listen to what this compromised globalist's answer is carefully. Canada is done for. Our sovereignty is more under threat from this guy running Canada than anyone else. He's not hiding what he meant. This is his and his elite banker friends, G-Fans plan, and he's using Canada to do it. The people need to wake up. So spot on. Carney is just using Canada as his own personal monopoly board for Brookfield and his elite globalist Davos buddies. Carney was also asked about Canada being threatened by China, China being the biggest threat to Canada. And she asked him, like, do you still believe that? His answer can be summarized basically with, the landscape is changing and the world is dangerous and divided, and we're resilient and we're protecting Canadians.
Less than a year ago, you said that China was the biggest security threat to Canada. Do you still believe that?
The security landscape continues to change.
Security landscape continues to change. Here comes the most BS answer you've ever heard.
In a world that's more dangerous and divided, we face many threats. That's the reality. And the job, my responsibilities as Prime Minister, the job of the government, is to manage those threats. You manage those threats by building resilience, building security. You manage those threats through alliances. You manage those threats through engagement. And we're pursuing all of those. And I would say that, the threat environment has increased. The risks have multiplied. So too has our resilience and our engagement. Which is protecting Canadians on balance.
But does that threat from China still exist?
I'll refer to my previous answer.
And his base totally swallows this wholeheartedly and believes it. I posted this clip on Threads, and the amount of people defending him for saying these completely polar opposite things, like China is a threat versus now China has a relationship with Canada, it's a partnership for Canada, we should deepen our cultural ties with China. They just completely take his answer and swallow it and enjoy it, and they defend him. It's so gross to watch. Here are some comments from Threads for you to laugh at. I support opening trade with China. Good for lumber too. In other words, America is a bigger threat. Okay. We deal with China every day. What's the issue? I mean, he isn't wrong. A lot has changed over the past year. If you took Trump's out of your mouth for a minute, you would see that. TDS. Pretty clear, accurate, and concise response. Not sure that you did what you thought you did there. You're pathetic. These people are hilarious. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is Kat in what is probably soon to be the 24th province of China, currently called Canada. If you enjoyed the video, please consider supporting by smashing the like button, subscribing to the channel, and leaving me your thoughts in the comments. Also, if you don't already, follow me on X. My handle is @catcanada_TM. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.